Trek had already gone off the air as far as producing any more original shows and all that sort of stuff, because I think it was only on the air for 3 years or something like that. So it went on the air, I think, 69, so 70, 71, so somewhere around 71, 72, the series went off the air again. But it was rebroadcast, of course, in this is the original series now, of course, the first Trek series, Star Trek series, rebroadcast for quite a few years afterwards, and we could get it air in Newfoundland through I think it was the NTV network. Now I'm assuming NTV means Newfoundland television, but I'm not 100% certain, guys. I don't think we used to get it on CBC, because back then, where I lived, the part of Newfoundland where I lived, we only got NTV and CBC, and I believe Star Trek was broadcast over the NTV network. I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm going back an awful long ways, guys. It might have been CBC for all I know, and I'm just getting it all mixed up. Anyway, thing is, I was very, very young when I started watching it. And from pretty much day one, guys, I was hooked on the series. I was hooked on pretty much everything connected with the series and the concept and all the rest of it, sort of thing. Now, of course, guys, looking back on this now, at almost 60 years of age, be 60 in another couple months' time, and with where the technology has come now, has gotten to, but the way we're able to put stuff together nowadays and all the rest of it. Of course, looking back at the original Star Trek series now, looks as cheesy and as how do I say it, like almost unprofessional as you can possibly imagine it. But you had to keep in mind, guys, this was back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. I was just a kid. To me, it was as fascinating and as enthralling as you could possibly imagine for a little kid being exposed to something like that at such a young age, and you know, and what they included. You know, they were pretty crafty, guys, pretty slick with the way they put stuff together for what they had to work with for that time period, sort of thing, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was hooked on Star Trek almost from day one. There was a period there's another series that I really got into as well, and people don't talk about so much now as well, because I think they were on for only 1 season or 2 seasons or something like that, and that was Space 1999. And we used to get that as well here in Newfoundland. And there was a period there where Star Trek and Space 1999, they were kind of almost competing with one another for a while, or to me they were competing with one another anyway. And I was just utterly, completely enthralled with both of them, guys. I mean, I'm a huge Space 1999 fan as well, sort of thing, you know. But that doesn't have the clout, the you know, the impact, and to this day as Star Trek has, sort of thing. I wish they would make a remake of Space 1999. I wish there was more, you know, spin-off shows from it and whatever, and that was still a big thing today, sort of thing. But it never quite got there. It never quite got the attention it should have gotten. It hasn't gotten the reboot yet, and it's not like uppermost in people's minds the same way as Star Trek still remains to this day. So. So I mean, maybe to make two 30-minute videos or nowadays. But the thing that grabbed me very, very early on, guys, because my mind functions differently from almost anybody that I know, I became a deep, passionate fan of Star Trek, not so much for the entertainment aspect of it, but more from the philosophical aspect of it, guys. The message that was portrayed through Star Trek continues to be portrayed through Star Trek, the better Star Trek, that is out there that people try to make. And I became, like, as much as anything, I'm a huge fan of Gene Roddenberry's vision for the future. And that's why I've always remained loyal to Star Trek, loyal to the concept of Star Trek, and loyal to the future that Star Trek presents for us, continues to present for us actually. And it's never ever really been about the entertainment aspect of it, although of course the entertainment aspect of it is enjoyable. I mean, the more entertaining it is, the more engaging it is. But for me, it has always had to keep that underlying principle of keeping true to the message. And the philosophy and the deeper concepts that I assume, after watching some old interviews of Mr. Roddenberry's, the vision that he was trying to portray through that series sort of thing. And I would hope and pray, guys, that anybody that's ever been involved with Star Trek since the 70s and since Gene Roddenberry is after passing away and so on, have gotten involved with Star Trek. I think most of them have gotten involved with Star Trek in any way, shape, or form, as either fans or people have been able to act in the series, different series, in different roles and so on. That have done so because they too believe in the vision that Gene Roddenberry had. And they want to push that vision, that philosophy, that concept, that hope for the future that Gene Roddenberry tried to present within within the franchise overall sort of thing. It is a vision of the future, guys, that is extremely hopeful, that tells us that we reached a point where we were able to move past all of our petty, minor differences, found a way to work together globally, solve all of our major global issues like global poverty and like the effects that we're having on the environment and all the rest of it, that we solved those problems. And so the ecology and all the rest of it, was no longer an issue and all the rest of it sort of thing. And no more wars, no more violence, we'd found a way to live peacefully in the world sort of thing. And the outcome of that, guys, was through pulling together that way, the way Gene envisioned it, and it makes perfect common sense, of course, as well, if we could ever get to this point and achieve this, that we could manifest this glorious vision that Gene Roddenberry envisioned for us, where we could create all these phenomenal technologies, guys, where we could create the spacecraft that would allow us to explore every part of our solar system, and beyond that then every part of our galaxy, and then beyond that then other parts of the universe and all the rest of it sort of thing. What now seems to be, even to this day, something utterly beyond anything we can even begin to imagine achieving, because we have not even come close to reaching that point yet of pulling together and working together and being one global society and all the rest of it sort of thing, getting past our petty differences, to work toward common goals for all of us, once we had achieved that, that we would do these things that seem almost like godlike right now to us, because our minds, our mentalities, and all the rest of it still have not evolved to the point where we can begin to manifest that reality in the here and now, or in the very, very, very near future at the very least, So I'm not aware of another sci-fi series, guys, that presented a vision of the future in a better way than the way Gene Roddenberry envisioned it, and the way he tried to portray it in the Star Trek series. So Star Trek came out, again, I think it was either 68 or 69, and I'm 100% certain on the exact date now. I believe it was 69. Don't know the month there now, guys. And it remains a staple, like one of the crowning glories, we'll say, within the sci-fi world to this day. But and so you're going over 50 years now, guys. Yes, it's over 50 years, because I think they had a 50th anniversary there a few years back. So over half a century now, guys, we have had Star Trek in some way, shape, or form, and what, about 3 generations now, born and raised, exposed to this concept and so on. I'm not aware of any sci-fi series ever, guys, that has achieved that level of success for that long a period of time. Now, those who are just focused on the entertainment aspect of it will say that this franchise has long outlived its usefulness. It should have been put to rest ages ago, and so on and so forth. You know, those of us who support the philosophy of Star Trek, understand the meaning behind Star Trek, understand that it's something that should go on well into the future, sort of thing. Not only should it go on well into the future, guys, it is a vision of the future that we should be doing everything within our power to try to manifest in the here and now. And so I have maintained for quite some time that the reason Star Trek continues to be a big favorite with people, and why it continues to surpass all the other type of sci-fi series that are out there to this day, is because of that very thing. It's because of the vision that Trek presents to the world. In a day and age, guys, in a world right now that needs that vision more than it ever has before, you know? And what that was, I heard there a moment ago, guys, something going off there. So 28 minutes in now, guys, almost 30 minutes there now. So this will be like probably a 4-parter here, and I can almost see it now that this is going to stretch out a bit, because for me to kind of really go into my thoughts here, guys, it creates longer videos, sort of thing. So so again, now for people that are my age or close to my age, or certainly a little bit older than myself, we come from a perspective here, guys, like the teenagers nowadays, the young adults, they can't grasp this, they won't grasp this, they don't know how to grasp this, but when we were teenagers, when we were kids, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, those that were first introduced to Star Trek in the late 60s, those who were kids and teenagers back then, some years older than myself and all the rest of it. I was born in 65, so you know. Back then, there was this very idealistic concept of how the near future would be, guys. And when I say the near future, I mean within our lifetimes, like the handful of decades into the future, within our lifetimes, guys. So we envisioned 30, 40, 50 odd years ago, the year 2000 and the turning of the millennium, beginning of the new millennium. We envision a world so vastly different from the way it has so far played out. It's I don't know how to put it into words in a way that can make sense to you. It's sad and depressing beyond anything I can kind of like adequately put into words. You know, it has unfolded for the past 25 years in such a way so vastly different, so vastly contrary to anything that I ever heard when I was a kid growing up, that we figured the year 2000 and the first few decades of the new millennium would unfold. So yes, we envision a lot of great technology and all the rest of it, which that part seems to have kind of like unfolded to some degree, you know, I don't know, kind of sort of loosely in a way we had envisioned it, sort of thing. But nothing, guys, connected with that technology that we envision that would vastly improve our lives once that technology manifested. So of course we have technologies right now, guys, that when I was a kid, back in the end of the 60s, early 70s and so on, certainly those that grew up in the late 60s, you know, who remember the Trek series when it first came out and all the rest of it, sort of thing. We have technologies today, guys, that would have easily been considered like super science fiction 40, 50 odd years ago, that we never dreamt could have probably been developed within our lifetime. So if they could have been, we sort of envision would utterly transform the world to make it almost a paradise today compared to the way it actually has unfolded for us, sort of thing, you know. So we come from that perspective, and so when we look at the world today and see the way everything's functioning today, so we're well past the year 2000 now, a decade and a half into the new millennium, and we have a lot of these insane technologies on the go here now, guys, and where AI is gradually, increasingly encroaching on our lives and taking over aspects of our lives and all the rest of it. But then we see the way the world is right now, guys, and it's tough to know how to put into words, guys. You really have to have lived that time period and envision how we thought things would be today, and then be living this time period as well, and looking back on that, you know, and comparing the two to really grasp, really appreciate what I'm struggling to try to get across here, sort of thing. So the level of pettiness that continues to exist in the world right now, the level of small-mindedness that continues to exist in the world right now, the level of short-sightedness that continues to exist in the world right now, sort of thing. The way that we are using technology, guys, the way that we're utilizing the technology, these phenomenal technologies that we have developed over the past 40, 50 odd years and so on, that the way we are using them and greatly misusing them to tantalize ourselves, to numb our minds, to distract us from the real world, to distract us from creating a better world for ourselves, sort of thing, to lull us into this stupor that we have been in now for 2.5 decades. And I very much see it as being a stupor, because with every few years that goes by, and with the way people's mentalities are changing, it appears to me, for someone who can step outside of that and remember the way the world was before we had these technologies, as though everybody is slipping more and more and more into this stupor, this comatose sort of state where they're kind of like half out of it all the time. So they are glued to their smartphones 24/7. They're glued to social media 24. When I say 24/7, I mean practically almost every waking hour of their lives, when they're not working or doing whatever else they're doing, sort of thing. Every leisure moment is spent online. But online doing what, guys? Online doing just trivial, silly nonsense and putting out silly, trivial videos and, you know,